And Andrew, he is the event coordinator for the Roots and Liberty fundraiser dinner that we are hosting in Kentucky for Toller, Perry, and Brad Barron. Brad was unable to make it on here today with us, but just want to introduce you guys to these candidates, tell you about this fundraiser dinner we're having this week. You can buy tickets, you can donate, lots of things here that you guys can do. So why don't we kick it off? James, why don't you tell us who you are and what you're running for?
Yeah, I'm James Toller. I'm running for the Kentucky State House of Representatives here in Kentucky in District 78.
Okay. Robert, what are you, lost Andrew there. Robert, how about you? Where are you running for office?
I'm running in District 2, Kentucky for U.S. House of Representatives.
All right. And Andrew, why don't you tell us what you're showing off today for us?
Oh, I'm just here to answer any questions about the event as far as it goes. I'm kind of coordinating it, dealing with all three campaigns, getting that together. I'm not running for anything but my life, so there we go.
All right. So for people joining us here, this is kind of a little impromptu. We just been kind of planning to get some promotion for the event. So what we have going on this week is this Saturday, we have a dinner fundraiser. You guys are, the event link is in the description below. If you can make it to Lexington, Kentucky, we'd be happy to see you there. Otherwise, you can always buy a ticket if you can't make it, right, Andrew? Like people can pay and donate if they so choose.
Yeah, you can definitely buy a ticket and, just let us know you're not coming. We can donate that ticket to one of the many news outlets we're talking to about coming, or an individual that wants to come locally but financially isn't in the cards for him.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, we often get associated with really wealthy people, but there's plenty of libertarians that don't have a whole pile of money. There's plenty of libertarians that can't quite pay for the event. So yeah, I love the idea of somebody donating tickets to we'll call them a underprivileged Tarian.
Yes, there are definitely many of those out there. And so let's kind of go through here. So Robert, you're running for U.S. House of Representatives. What are some things that you think the U.S. House would do different if you were there? What are some of the things that you would be changing?
Well, one thing is we would have one less person voting continually for more spending. I was just looking through Guthrie's voting record, and it's amazing. Every time Nancy Pelosi wants to spend money, Guthrie's there backing her up. And one of my favorites was the bill Massey wanted to rename to the kicking the can down the road and for other purposes bill. I can't remember exactly, but Guthrie voted for that one, and not only did he vote for that one, but he voted against renaming it, which, there is a time and place to give up and kick the can down the road, but I'm the type person, if I get cornered enough that I'm kicking the can down the road, I'm going to admit to it. So I would have, even if I felt I had to vote for it, I still would have voted to rename it kicking the can down the road, because I'm a lot more about transparency and honesty, and we are where we are, and that's kind of the key through democracy is keeping people informed about the reality of events. I feel like that completely failed this year with COVID. We had an administration that didn't want to be honest with people about it, and then we had a legislature where half of them was cheering on the hiding it, and half of them were cheering on the, exaggerating it. And we're at a point in this country where absolutely nobody believes any of the leadership, and nor should we. So I would like to be one of the few. Well, I would like there to be a lot of us, but I would at least be one person in Congress that you could trust on things like that. I can go on all day, but I'll give somebody else a chance.
Right. So, James, you're running for 78th House District in Kentucky, so it's a Kentucky position. So, what are some of the things that your opponent? I can't remember. You're running basically a head-to-head, aren't you?
I am.
Yes.
The incumbent. Yes, sir.
So either people can vote for what they have, or they can vote for something different here, because there's really only two candidates. But what sets you apart from your opponent the most here?
Well, one thing is, I guess, something that was been brought to me a few times by people that I've been talking to is they would go to my opponent and ask a question or even try to get him to give a view on certain topics. And some of the answers that he has given is, well, I have to check with my leadership. What is his leadership? That's his party leadership. If it's not his party leadership, it is simply other people that is in the house with him that is over him per se. That's who he has to check with. And that's something that I will not do. My leadership will be the people. So actually just getting somebody in there for the people and working for the people is going to be what sets me apart a lot other than him. And also he votes, over the last couple of years, he's voted for 2 tax increases. Uh, I will not do that. I will vote down any new tax bill, and I will vote to reduce and eliminate some taxes as well.
Okay, good. All right, I'm gonna shift over here so Andrew's not completely ignored. Andrew, being a event coordinator and just a member of the party, you're not a candidate, but can you tell some people out here what they can do if they're not candidates to go out and organize an event? Like, give that process, because a lot of people want to know what they can do to help. I mean, you just organized an event and said we're throwing a fundraiser. So why don't you give some people about that?
Yeah, sure. Well, the first thing you have to do is decide that, you want to do something different and you're tired of just sitting around. You got to have that catalyst event. I know I did. One of my businesses I own, came under attack by somebody because I decided I didn't want to host a specific type of event here that didn't go well with our brand. And, I went to the Republican Party and asked, hey, what can you do to help me out as I'm facing problems with free speech, and they couldn't do anything, and our rights are being kind of trampled over. As a business owner in Kentucky, I'm dealing with the mask mandates, the changing rules. It's funny, I can send a picture to you, but we've got a picture on one of our businesses that just crosses out every time they change the capacity limit. They'll just cross it out and we'll write the new one, and it's been crossed out like 5-6 times. Where we have to change our capacity limit. So I took a look at that and I said, I can complain about it or I can actually do something about it. So I joined the Libertarian Party and I got involved right away. And, one of the things I recognized was we don't really offer a good fundraising way here in Kentucky for us to come together, fundraise, but also, have formal events with our candidates and, do those types of things like a candidate dinner. So identifying that is maybe a need or an opportunity. I started looking around. It is a lot harder than it sounds because with COVID restrictions going on, finding a space willing to take us that was willing to work us in, but also to work with the process of, for lack of a better term, when we started doing this, we didn't have any, money in the bank at all or anything else. So it's definitely a negotiation process to be able to get the event to go, be able to work it financially to make it work out. But hey, as a business owner, I've dealt with that before. Money is just a tool, not a resource. So work that to your advantage as far as it goes. And so we got together, able to kind of pull this together, and we're 20 tickets from being full. And we definitely want to pack the house out as far as it goes. We definitely want to be showing our support, and we want to pull off something that, as far as I know, based on what I'm being told, the Libertarian Party of Kentucky hasn't done before, which is to have a formal event just for the candidates, kind of like this, and provide an outreach. There's a lot of, for lack of a better term, I find there's a lot of interesting people in the Libertarian Party. And if you invite people who are maybe interested into the party to your monthly meetings, they hear a lot about business and things like that. And hey, I know my first meeting, not being involved in that, I was kind of bored. And so I know that as well, when you go to our social events, we do have some interesting characters in our party as well. So if you're looking for an event to bring somebody to introduce them to the Libertarian Party, introduce them to the ideas and beliefs of the Libertarian Party, and hear the platform we stand on, this is definitely the perfect event for that. A nice formal event where you're proud to kind of show out the Libertarian Party at.
Okay, cool. Well,
It's cool that you set up such a nice event and still invited me, man. That's awesome.
Well, Robert, I had to invite somebody. So I'm just joking, Robert. I find you to be quite the gentleman, okay? I enjoy your presence.
So some of the other things, someone in the chat here said capacity limit signs should be replaced with enter at your own risk signs. Chad, completely agree. That should be people's choice, I guess. Yeah, I don't see why not.
I know that my staff did not sign up to become enforcement of health department mandates on other individuals, like wear a mask. I definitely don't think they signed up for that altercation.
No. So
that always reminds me of a Hitler quote, and I'll flub it a little, but it was something to the effect of the most powerful thing about an authoritarian government is those who fear it the most are quickest to enforce it. And I feel like we've seen a lot of that this year. You have a lot of people who are being put in a situation where they're going to get in trouble if they don't enforce what King Andy says. So instead of King Andy going after people himself or going after people with the state, he's basically threatening business people, and he's creating conflict between business people and their customers. And I just don't think that's cool at all.
So, James, you would actually have more power over this. If you were in-house, what would you be doing to deal with the situations of Andy Beshear's actions here in Kentucky?
Well, as libertarians, we'd like people to, I guess, see what liberty truly is and the freedoms that they have. And I would just, pretty much try to get something together to where the people just makes their own choices. If they feel like that they're safe to go out and be in a crowd of more than 50% capacity, then so be it. Let them go. If they don't, then they don't need to go. Let the people decide what's safe for them. I mean, the government, we have no idea really what's safe for Andrew is not safe for me, or vice versa. So, let's leave the power to the people.
Okay. So one of the questions in the chat here, someone just asked is, will you guys be would you legalize explosives as well as full automatic weapons? So that goes back to all of our gun infringement and rights. I mean,
absolutely. Well, I mean, you might end up needing those. I know that sounds over the top to some people, but you may end up needing those to defend your rights against a autocratic government. So yes, absolutely. And a lot of people forget, when they were going to, what was it? Was it Lexington or Concord? I'm not that much of a historian, but they were basically going to get military grade magazines. That's what that was about. So when we had written into our Constitution the Second Amendment, they didn't have in mind to go hunting. I don't even think they really had home defense in mind. What they really had in mind is for the people to be able to defend themselves, from the government or from other governments if their own government failed to defend them from another government. Kind of like Joe Jorgensen's a rifle behind every blade of grass. I know that's not original to her, but I love her co-opting of it. I mean, that's the philosophy we need exactly. And I would also like to tag on to something James said when he was talking about, people should have the right to decide how much risk to put themselves at. You can even go back and find some videos I did on this in like March or April, something in that time frame. I was digging through the data, and you could see the inflections of the infection rate coming about 10 to 14 days after there were public admissions of the risk. And you could see that both in this country, and you could also see that in Sweden. These are the two major countries I've looked at. And that inflection, like I said, it was 10 to 14 days after the distribution of information to the public. But those inflections were also too soon in this country to be attributed to the lockdown. And those were really the biggest pivots in infection rates throughout this. It dropped from growing at something like 33% daily to growing more like 10 to 12% daily. It was really very dramatic. And it was just driven by human nature. It was just driven by how people acted once they had the information they needed to make decisions. So James is absolutely right.
Yeah. I think every candidate I've interviewed has all advocated the same thing. I've never heard any libertarian candidate say wearing a mask is bad, don't wear a mask ever. But I have heard every single one say you should make your choices and be aware of them. Like, be informed, give the information to people, and inform them as much as possible. So,
and I also think it's incumbent upon us as good citizens to make the best decision you can. I mean, yes, I will advocate things. I have advocated things. I'm not going to today. You can go back and look at some of my videos and see where I do. But I absolutely think you should do what you think's best, for yourself, your family, your neighbor. That's part of being a good citizen.
Yeah. Maybe people can make their own decisions on where to wear masks, but I in no place do I think the government should really be in doing it, and I don't think I've ever found a libertarian that does. So, some of the other questions I get, I think one of lots of people tend to want to know what we would do with foreign policy. And as far as where there's issues with other countries out there. And once again, if you guys are still watching and haven't bought a ticket for the Roots and Liberty dinner, you should do that right now. Just saying. The link's in the description. But I think one of the big questions I get that most people worry about on a libertarian national policy is what would stop us? What types of things would we get involved with? And I don't know if, Robert, if you've evaluated that from like the federal standpoint, but do you have any personal opinions on things where from a national level that we say we want to go with free trade and everything, but at some point there would be some things that maybe would be intervening? I don't know if you've thought about any of those personally that you talk about.
I'm extremely non-interventionist though, and even a lot of the rhetoric we've got the last few years about China stealing our technology. This is often about I forget the term they use for it, but basically a company goes there and China makes them partner up with another company before they can come do business there. That's still that company's choice. I mean, don't take your factory to China. Capitulate and agree to build the factory with another company, and then come expect the U.S. taxpayer to go to war with China because that other company stole your technology. Of course they stole your technology. That's what the entire deal was about to begin with. That's specifically what they were doing. Now, there's other ways that China steals technology, like piracy. One thing I've thought of with that, and I've been thinking about this for the last decade, really, is privateers. Back to the idea of
letters of marque.
Yeah, letters of marque. I mean, if you're not gonna crack down on hackers in your country, if you're gonna buddy up to hackers in your country, we're maybe gonna tell hackers in our country that your assets are free reign, and we can talk about pulling them back in when you're willing to come to the table, because there's a lot of 13-year-old script kiddies in this country that would love to practice on China if they didn't feel like they were going to go to the penitentiary for it. So you know what? Yeah, I think I can take on China's hackers just with our 13 and 14-year-old script kiddies. That's what I think.
Just by removing the laws that say they can't do it to China. That works.
Yeah. You know, you want to play that way? We'll play that way. That's okay. But that's when, you know, that's kind of like, you know, if you want to get in a fight in the alley with me, I'll get in a fight in the alley with you. But what we really need to do for foreign policy is stay out of people's business and trade with them. I mean, even the thing that's brought China to the table, it isn't tariffs on their stuff. It's that they didn't really want tariffs on our stuff. They didn't want to crack down on importing food from the U.S. because they want food from the U.S. Duh. That's the thing that moves the needle. I saw somebody put it brilliantly. The difference between a regular war and a trade war is in a trade war, all the cannons are pointed inward. So
Yep.
this trade war stuff's just stupidity. So build friends, build neighbors via staying out of their business and trading with them.
Okay, good. This question could mostly go for both based on the offices you're running for, but someone asked, as well as gun law changes, would you guys legalize recreational marijuana and other hallucinogenic drugs? And I guess that doesn't necessarily have to end there. Where do you have lines or anything on that? And James, I'll let you discuss that answer first, I guess, here.
Yeah, most definitely. We need to end the war on drugs completely, just like Joe Jorgensen has put out. You know, with her run for presidency, that's one of her big things that she wants to do is end the war on drugs. You know, the opioid crisis is it's a crisis, and I think we can eliminate that crisis just by decriminalizing marijuana. And ending the war on drugs. I mean, that's the answer to that is ending the war on drugs, and I would fight to do that.
Well, I got to say here, too, just for an update for people in here, it looks like we just sold a ticket for the dinner. So thank you, people, for buying tickets. And once again, Andrew, I'll give you, we'll interrupt here and give you your plug for the Roots and Liberty dinner. Make sure people who are still watching can see that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Buy your ticket, Roots and Liberty dinner. Sorry. We are very excited to be putting this on. Very excited to have everybody out there. And one of the things very different about this will be the opportunity to bid on some very interesting products. Each candidate is putting up an experience with them that I will let Robert and James talk about what their experiences are. I know Brad has put up a green room pass to the debates he's involved in at KET, as well as he's also provided dinner for that evening as well. So that'll be a fantastic opportunity to bid on that. We'll be at the dinner. I know that that's kind of historic for the Libertarian Party here in Kentucky. It's our first time being on that debate stage, and that was a fantastic item up for bid, and I know James and Robert both have items that they can talk about.
Yeah, the items are actually pretty good. You know, mine may not be as nice as Robert's or Brad's, but you know, hey, you're going to have a chance to eat, and it's going to be the bidder's choice, the winner's choice on this. Either a 1, 3, 5, or 7 day road trip in a tractor trailer with all meals paid. So you'll have a chance to bid on that. You know, if there's some place that you wanted to go see, never have been there, let me know if you win the bid, and off we go.
I'm really excited about James's actually, and Carla's excited about James's. Carla's my wife, so I suspect my wife is actually going to bid on James's. She's interested in going cross country in his truck. Mine is so I'm a bit of a Tesla fanboy. I'm not a huge Tesla fanboy, so I have a Model 3 Tesla named Boudica, and this is this is mini Boudica. So Boudica looks just like this. And, if you're interested in the technology, a lot of people are curious what a long range drive is really like in a Tesla, or if just are into road trips, something like that. That's what I'm auctioning off. Is I'm driving, you're the passenger. We can listen to music, listen to blogs, talk philosophy. We can record an episode of Liberate Daily if you want. We can just kind of do Q&A, whatever you want. And the range limit I'm setting on it is, 1,000 miles round trip. And, obviously we're not taking Boudica any place you can get in trouble or anything like that. But, basically a day trip, a long day trip maybe. So that's what my thing is. And then that's the auction. I do have another little thing going, and you don't have to buy tickets for this or anything, or bid on this or anything. But I bought these magnets. I became enamored with them because I kind of feel like the resistance is kind of, the liberty movement. So a woman's place is in the resistance. So I bought the store out. They only had 4 of them. And I'm going to be giving these away to the first 4 women at the dinner who can tell me why a woman's place is in the resistance. I think you went mute, Ryan.
Aren't I? I'm just talking to myself, aren't I? Okay, that's been
I was
fun.
about to take over the Rob show now.
just take it over, Rob. You do this every day anyway. You're a natural at it. So, I typically usually go about 30 minutes because just audience retention. I typically know not many people are going to be watching at this point of the video. But anything you guys want to say to the people who are still here about your campaigns? Any last minute messages or what your elevator pitch is, I guess?
I do have one thing I want people to look at in District 2, and if you know somebody in District 2, get it out to them, just because I find it unnerving. Look at H2862. It's the 2019 Vaccinations Act, and I took my flu vaccine this year. It's not that I'm ultra paranoid about vaccines, but if you read the language of that act, it basically gives the CDC $75 million to surveil on speech that is against safety of vaccines. And, it does talk about scientific or medically proven, but science was kind of my first passion. And you've got to have hypothesis. You've got to have some harebrained theories out there before you have an experiment and have it scientifically proven. And then the flip side of that, they're spending $30 million, or approving rather $30 million, to promote vaccine adoption throughout the lifetime. So to me, it's just a $75 million suppression campaign against those speaking against vaccination. And I appreciate some of them aren't distributing the best of information. I'll admit that. And it's also $30 million ad campaign, and it's all at taxpayer expense, and that was sponsored by Guthrie. And you'll notice that 4 of the top 5 industries that contribute to Guthrie are healthcare and pharmaceuticals and related industries. And I mean, seriously, I just do not feel good about sending somebody that aligned with pharmaceuticals right now and that willing to use taxpayer money to promote, not just get out good information, but to promote vaccines as we are dealing with the COVID pandemic. I would really rather somebody who's not interested in having their thumb on the scale. I would feel differently about it if the wording were about dissemination of good information or something like that. But it's just a frickin' ad campaign. And I know the summary doesn't look like that, but if you're interested, go look at the actual text of 2862 and feel free to let me know what you think.
HR 2862. We'll put that in the comments there for everyone. Okay. I think we lost James, so I guess he's not going to be able to give his little elevator speech here. But, oh, there he is. He came
The
back.
real, yeah, okay.
There he is. All right, James, just in time to give your last little minute speech on what you'd like to hear your constituents here.
Yeah, the big thing is we don't have time to go over them, so I'll just mention them. If you want to do the research, that's great. Just research and look over in the Kentucky legislation over the last couple of years, and especially this past year. Look over the HB 99, the HB 9, or the SB 9 and the HB 136. Look over them, familiarize yourself with them, because what might look good that someone had voted for something or did not vote for something. If you read into it and actually look at the time frame that you have to get to override vetoes or anything like that, kind of look into that and see if they really passed it for their well-being, or if they just passed it to kind of make you think that they're trying to do the right thing. So look through those, and guys, if you just want a vote for freedom and a vote for yourself and not for the government, it's here in the 78th district. You just got to be able to push that button whenever it comes down to November the 3rd.
All right. Thank you. And Andrew, any last minute plugs for the dinner?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I want to make sure, okay, because I didn't really hear James very well, so I didn't know if that was just me. Yeah, absolutely. Get out there, buy a ticket, come see us, donate to the event, buy a ticket for someone else. It doesn't matter. What matters is this. If you want to see a difference, you have to be a part of that change. You can't just sit around commenting on Facebook and telling your friends and family and everybody else you're for liberty. You've got to get out there. You have to fight. You have to take actions to ensure that your freedoms are preserved. And one of those actions is supporting the candidates that are running to protect your liberties. And that's what this dinner is trying to do, is help support those candidates that are out there protecting your liberties. And that's a good enough reason to me to buy a ticket. I don't know about you guys, but that seems like a great reason to buy a ticket, is to help support your own liberties.
Okay. All right, guys. I think that's about all we have here today. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you guys in the next interview. And maybe we'll get some of these guys back
organizing this, Andrew, and thank you for getting this out, Ron.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, guys. Good job, Andrew.